By the end of this video, you're going to know the 5 best no annual fee credit cards that offer 0% interest for up to 21 months. Whether you want to avoid interest altogether, pay down your balances faster, or just simply make a big purchase, these credit cards are going to help you get there in half the time. Also going to share some tips to help you get approved, so make sure you don't skip around too much in the video, which brings us to card number 1, the Discover It, offering 0% APR for 15 months on purchases and balance transfers at the time of this video. But what really makes this card stand out is the way that it earns rewards, giving you 5% cash back on rotating categories like groceries and gas, and then 1% on everything else. Important to mention, your cash back does not expire, and Discover actually matches your cash back that you earn in the first year. Like I said before, there's no annual fee, so if you do need extra time to pay off debt without having any interest, then this card might be for you. Before I share with you this bonus hack to help you get approved, it's also important to mention this card is primarily for people who are new or rebuilding their credit, because it does have some easy requirements. But if that's not you, don't worry, I have a lot more cards to go over. Which brings us to bonus hack number 1, which is seeing if you are approved without impacting your credit score. Basically, you can share some personal information with Discover to see if you have a good chance of being approved for this credit card without actually doing a hard inquiry, which ultimately doesn't hurt your credit score. For the skeptics out here, you could see it right here. Now, if you don't have an offer or you were simply denied the first time, stick around because I'm going to share with you a hack to help you get approved, but more on that later. And if you enjoy me getting right into the value with no added fluff, make sure to hit the subscribe button if you want to make more, save more, and raise your credit. Next up, we have one of my favorites, which is the Chase Freedom Unlimited. Before we go over the benefits and the 0% APR, the reason I love this card so much is because it opens the doors. It's the foundation for all the other Chase credit cards. If you're in the travel and points game, you know that those cards are super valuable. Or if you're just looking for major credit limits and a bank to build a real relationship with, then Chase is one of the best. Not to mention, the reason for this video altogether is the 0% APR for 15 months. Now, it's very important to note that not every credit card has these terms here, which is 0% APR on purchases and balance transfers. Some credit cards, they only allow a 0% APR on new purchases from the date of the account opening. But this credit card and the credit card I shared before this allow you to actually transfer old debt from other credit cards to this card after you open it up that qualifies for 0% interest. And you're probably wondering, well, Nick, why would I do that? Let's say that you have a $10,000 balance with a credit card that's charging you 30% interest. Technically, you're paying over $3,000 in interest per year just for carrying that balance. But if you were to transfer that to the 0% APR card, you could freeze that interest, which is effectively saving you about $300 per month to help you pay down your debt quicker. But more on that later. Now, the Chase Freedom Unlimited is giving you 3% cash back on dining at restaurants and at drugstores, 5% on travel booked through Chase's travel portal, and 1.5% on everything else. Solid all-around card, but the next one is probably best for people who value everyday spending and who want just a better credit limit. Hey, you guys still there? If you're still with me, drop a money emoji below, and as a thank you for doing that, here is a rubber chicken. Which brings us to card number 3, which is the Blue Cash Every Day from American Express. No annual fee like the other cards that I promised, plus a 0% APR period for up to 15 months on purchases and balance transfers. The rewards are pretty awesome as well, giving you 3% cash back at groceries and US supermarkets, online retail purchases, gas stations, and 1% all other purchases. Now, it's important to note that 3% categories, they are capped at $6,000 per year. The average family probably not going to exceed that on gas or grocery expenses, maybe groceries because they are getting super expensive, but I did want to point that out. So if you're someone that's spending a lot on groceries and gas, then this is probably the card for you. Which reminds me, if you're on the normal American Express website, you're going to see the Apply Now button like here. But this is what you shouldn't click. Before, you make sure that the button you press is bringing you to this feature, American Express Apply with Confidence. Basically, they're going to let you see if you're actually approved. A little bit different from the pre-approval I shared with you before. This one by American Express, you're going to see if you're actually approved first without impacting your credit score, which is super powerful. Now, if you choose to accept the card, that's where they'll do the hard inquiry. For those of you that don't know what that is, a hard inquiry is basically when the bank or the lender is actually looking at your credit report, which hurts your credit score in the short term. But don't worry, it rebounds in a year or two. But we can't stop there because the last two are awesome. The next one has the longest 0% APR period out of all the cards I'm going to share with you. And the last one I share personally, I just helped my client get a $5,000 credit limit as he was rebuilding his credit. So it is super interesting for people that have low credit scores and want a high chance of being approved. So stick around. Which is the Wells Fargo Reflect credit card. Now, I do want to get something off my chest. I am personally not the biggest fan of Wells Fargo because of their past history, mistreating clients and customers, but we can't deny the fact that this card does give you 21 months of 0% interest. Now, I almost didn't believe it either, and who knows with these guys if they're going to change it after you sign. Totally a joke, by the way, but I had to pull up the terms and conditions. Everything does check out with no annual fee and also the 0% APR for 21 months, plus the balance transfer eligibility. Now, it's very important to note this card has no cashback rewards, but it does have 0 annual fee and 0% interest for 21 months. So if you're valuing the 0% interest, which you probably do if you clicked on this video, then this may be the card for you. Which is way different from the last card I share with you because the next card is going to have rewards, 0 annual fee, 0 interest, and a huge upside potential for better credit cards in the future. Oh my God! Wow! Brings us to one of my favorites, the Capital One Saver One. As promised, no annual fee, as well as the 0% APR for 15 months on purchases and balance transfers. But before I go over the rewards, here's why I specifically like this card. In my eyes, throughout all the credit cards that Capital One offers, this is the best one or the best first credit card that you can get that starts earning serious rewards without any fees, and it also unlocks future potential to better credit cards because, in my experience, most clients who have a Capital One credit card on their credit profile unlock the doors to better credit cards because at the end of the day, they're the biggest subprime borrower in the USA. And to make it even better, they're making their way into the luxury travel with the Capital One Venture X. Which reminds me, if you do end up getting this card and you upgrade to the Capital One Venture X in the future, you could convert the cash back from this card into points and miles with the Capital One Venture X to basically 3 times the value and start traveling for free. But more on that in another video. If you just care about the rewards on this card by itself, it is going to give you 5% cash back on hotels and rental cars booked through Capital One Travel, plus an additional 3% cash back on dining, entertainment, streaming services, and at grocery stores, and 1% everywhere else. So rewards are strong. Now, it's important to note 2 major things. One being that I didn't really highlight any of the sign-up bonuses on all the credit cards. Basically that you can get extra cash back or extra miles simply by signing up for the cards and spending a certain amount of money, because I felt the 0% interest and the rewards were of greater importance. So if you do feel like those offers may be attractive to you and you do want to sign up for the cards, I do have affiliate links in the description. They do help support my page at no cost to you. Thank you in advance for using them, which brings us to number 2, the hacks to be approved for these cards, as I promised you. Now, most of the cards that we spoke about do offer the pre-approval feature, which is basically, again, letting you see if you're approved before you send in the full application. But if you were denied and you sent in the application, here's what to do instead. You want to call the reconsideration line, and here's the numbers for all the banks that we spoke about. Basically, this lets you speak to a physical person in the underwriting department. You get to plead your case, let them know why you think you should be approved, and hopefully overturn your denial and turn it into an approval. Which pretty much wraps up the video, so make sure you check out this video right here. YouTube thinks it might be best for you. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.